Oops, sorry everyone, I don't have my camera turned on just yet, so we will just... Whoops. Oh, I had everything all set up, I just didn't have it loaded. So, hello everyone, how are we doing today on this lovely Friday? I hope for those of you that have Saturdays and Sundays as days off, I hope you have a nice, good, relaxing weekend ahead of you. So, as I said in the title and description of this, we are going to be looking at continuing to develop our ore industry and then also going ahead and making ourselves a university campus. So, as a short recap for the last episode, we focused up here building out our oil industry from 2 stars to 4 stars. We also built, as you can see, this little combined residential and commercial district, and we made a start on our ore industry. So if I bring up our natural resources overlay, we can see that we do have ore and whatnot available here, though because it's in quite a small section, it is a bit difficult to have some of the bigger buildings there. Thankfully, we do have some more over here, which is the area we are going to be expanding into in this episode. And then also down here, we have some lovely fertile land, which admittedly I'm not going to be using for an agricultural district. I think instead we are going to put our university there, which is going to make things a little bit complicated because it is a fair way from all of the highway connections that we have. Though we do have one down here, admittedly it would mean coming down through the industrial district, and then one along here which is again through the industrial area. But we could change up some of this and actually make it a bit more of a outer road, but we will see how things go and see how well our traffic is holding up, because we do have a couple of red areas, though traffic is flowing at a somewhat decent pace through all of that, so that's not too much of a worry. Being a red intersection simply means, at least for this city, like here, that there is a lot of use for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is being jammed up unnecessarily, though I think here we have some traffic lights which I will probably want to actually remove, and instead we make these, so we want probably that to stop, this little road which is a boardwalk area to give way, and then these roads across here have priorities. And then also we shall put some of our road lane management system options. So that one can go there, and then this one can come down there and go to there. Similarly, I think we'll put that one to there and there, and this one down here and to there. So there and there, and then this one is there and there, and this one would be there, and this one would be there and there. Is that actually all of them? Oh, I was going to say, is that all of them hooked up? No. So we will admittedly say that you are just going to be able to go straight. We will turn off the traffic manager overlay and wait a moment for all of this to filter through. There might actually be a good case for making some kind of pedestrian walkway. Actually no, sending that street just as a go straight doesn't look like it's going to work, because everyone is just waiting to go through. So as much of an annoyance as it is going to be, I think we are going to have to allow it across pretty much all roads. Yep, that is across all roads. So if we just turn that off and wait and see what everyone is doing. Okay, that truck does not know what it was trying to do. But as you can see there, we've cleared up the traffic. Partly because there are no traffic lights there for cars and whatnot to wait on. So a tiny bit of a traffic incident there, but it's all looking okay. So, yep. That looks good to me. It's no longer as bright of a red, so we may need to look at some of these roads here, because they are getting fairly well used for such small little lanes. And like here though, most of this should just be industrial traffic. So anyway, let's take our large, which one was this? With a bus lane, which would be good because that will enable us to have university, college educated sims. So we need, if we are going to connect that straight through up to with this road, which I was anticipating, so we want it to be there. Okay, so build that up, and then we will have, let's just put a little branch out there just so we are able to remember in the future that that is what we want. And then from that we will take the dropper tool. Actually no, not that one. Where is the better road? It is here. And that is a small 4-lane road without parking spaces. And then taking that, you could probably go to there. Actually that was probably a bit too far out, because what I want to do instead is to have, yep, there we go. So another road there, so we have some more offices and retail areas, commercial zones. And then from there we have our main university campus building there. There's probably a road going around it and various facilities available for that. So if we just quickly zone in those areas, and let's actually change this to a bit of a high density residential area, and then add this in as a few more offices, and we'll see how that bit goes. And then we want our education area. So the question is, do we go for a trade school or do we go for liberal arts? Unfortunately we have nowhere near the population to do a big university campus area. I have done a trade school before, so I think actually we might want to start with that one, just simply because, you know, it's going to be a so faculties, those tourism and travel, engineering, and we have like groundskeeping, and that is all just like standard buildings, IT, academic statues, a bookstore. So very much a campus that is off the city, as it were. So we've got dormitories and whatnot, paths, and then this is the large buildings and small buildings. So let's actually have a look at what the liberal arts does. So environmental studies and economics versus tourism and travel, engineering. Yes, I think we will just go for a standard trade school for the time being. So let's get our campus area down, because we have over 5,000 people in our city that is just waiting to pay money for a university education. So, yep, got that down. Campus area, so no administration building. So let's get started on that. So here we are, trade school, administration building. Yes, I was going to say I am trying to place it roadside, but you are not letting me, but there we go. So that now automatically means we have a level or 1-star university area. So how much is this all going to cost us? We have 48,000, and thankfully, well, we can't do a police academy just yet because we don't have enough money. But let's see, a book club's 12, that's 7, or 17, rather, 29.5, 39.5, so we have enough money to put down one of each building, and then also make sure that we have some nice school paths. So let's see, so obviously we would want probably the groundskeeping to be more at the back, but let's do a dormitory. Actually no, let's do pathing first, just because I am apparently indecisive. So we have our main section there, so we could probably do, let's say, okay, we can't do 500, so let's do 520 across there, and turn off snapping, because that is otherwise going to complain that it's right next to the road. And let's do that for, where does it change from 220 to 240 there, and let's do the same on the other side. They go across up to where it changes from 220 to 240, which should be just out there, and then we can build this up and have it connect up to the main section that we just did. So to there, and then across, and another central one here. And I think I am probably going to put down like a little park-ish area for that. So we want our trade school study hall probably to... Okay, that is annoying. Where I've just put all of those paths, it's now going to complain that there's not enough space for that. Okay, I guess we revert. I probably didn't need to delete that one. We could have just expanded it, but never mind. So instead we will go for where it goes from 240 to 260 instead. Which again should be about... Oh no, not 240 to 280. So it's 240 there, and we will bring it up to 280 there, and snapping back on, and across to there. So yes, I am taking like the proper time to go through and manage all of this. There we go, nice. That does look nice there. So we want it, let's say, slightly off, so we can put a nice little bookstore right next. I was going to say right next to it, but no, let's actually leave a tiny bit of space for some like trees and decor and whatnot, and then we will put our first dormitory there, and then put a second one again there. So that gives us capacity for 600 students. So The study hall unfortunately can only take 400, and the book club is 50 students, but that leaves us with a massive 110 credits. But we should be able to get some more money in, you know, fairly soon. So let's have a look at our ore site. So we have a total of 415 jobs available, and 345 of those are currently occupied. So we only need 5 more people to come through until we have enough workers, and we need about 460 more resources until we can get to the next level. Meanwhile, our oil industry, we need almost 200 more workers, though we do have 941 slots available, and we need to over double our produced resources to be able to go to the next level of that. So how are we doing with all of this? It is looking like pretty okay to me, and we will just, oops, yes, water for your university is going to be very, very important. So we'll put that back down. Like, I don't know why, I always seem to forget water until like the buildings start flashing up that they don't have anything. But that does not unfortunately look like it's going to be enough to carry that. So instead we will put this up to multiple ones across the roads. And then similarly, and that will need to come back a tiny bit. Wait until we have a bit more money coming through, though we have almost 14,000 coming through a week, so that is almost 2 grand a day, which is, you know, pretty nice. And just a few more things here and we will, yep, there we go, that is all connected up. So what I was going to say before we needed to put down some emergency water is, let's have a look. So we have 66 students and we have 155 out of 200 campus attractiveness. So we will need a total of 500 students and 2 academic works to be able to go to the next level. Currently we are just like completely unrecognised. This is a new university that has just been put down and everyone's going, it's like, okay, why should I care about this? So we can put down a couple of policies. So we can do student healthcare, in which students are provided free healthcare by the campus, increases their health, but also increases the cost by 5 credits per student. Free lunches, so increase student happiness, but increases costs by 1 credit a student. Visiting scholars, faculty bonus increases by 25%, but it also increases the upkeep by 25%. And to get universal education, we would need a population of 34,000, which I am just going to take a guess at would mean that you would no longer have to pay any kind of tuition fees. And then we also have one for varsity sports whenever we get to that level. So over in academic works, we have a 30% chance of creating an academic work, solely because of the base chance. If we had some good academic staff and some better buildings, that could also add to our creation chance. So a campus has a chance to create 1 academic work per 500 students each academic year, up to a maximum of 4 academic works per academic year. An additional academic work can be funded through a research grant. So I could decide if we had 50,000, we could give a research grant to artisanry, hospitality, or IT and engineering. Okay, so that is all the same cost regardless. We do have 197 students now, so the tuition fees are just about outpacing our expenses. And we have a bit of money where we can put down, where was it? That groundskeeping building. which I think I will put nicely where I want that little park area to be. And of course, speaking of parks and plazas, let's actually see if any of the pre-made ones... No, because they all require being put roadside, don't they? So what we could do... Could we, maybe, potentially, put down a little park area for the university? No. Okay, so we can't do that because it considers it the same type of area, but that does mean that we could put a few little, like, nature reserve kind of sectors around, possibly. Okay, yes, but it would need to be... Okay, so never mind. This is not going to actually be any kind of... No, actually, scratch that, I've changed my mind again. Because we have a regular city park, we can put down some of these things potentially in here. Yes, we can. It does look like that. Okay, so I am not going to put down, obviously, too many different things, but... Nope, okay, we can't put down the actual buildings, we can just put down some little decor. Okay, that is mildly disappointing. Right, okay, you guys are just going to have some lovely trees instead. So let's bring up our brush options. And what is our brush size? That's a bit too much. Go down to 64. Yeah, let's just put down some nice trees around here. Different ones. Maybe see if we can, like, put in a little lake or something. That's slightly disappointing that we can't do that. Well, hopefully the big news that Paradox and Colossal Order have coming for us is going to be a City Skylines 2, and that is going to have a lot more facilities and options available to it. So, if any of you guys have been looking forward to a potential City Skylines 2 announcement, has there been anything that you'd really want to see in it, or conversely, anything that you would want to have removed from the game as we currently have it? Obviously, considering all of the DLCs that we have, there are a few things that I would like to have in. Like, I bought pretty much, or the Snowfall DLC, I bought that pretty much almost just for the trams. I think I loaded into one of the winter maps once to have a look, and that was it. I've never touched it since. So, speaking of our parks, actually, let's have a look at Maple Hill, because that did go up to level 3 for us, and we can put down a few new facilities. So we have a couple of gazebos, park info booth. I'm pretty sure, yes, that we have the chessboard there already. And the Park Plaza, yep, we have that as well. So if we were by the water, we could put down a couple of piers. I think for now we will put a nice couple of gazebos down, just so there is some moderate interest for those, and we will naturally put down some carving for that, so that people can come through and access that. We will also paint in a few little trees around that area, or at least try to anyway. There we go. I just need to click down a bit firmer. Some other trees. And what else can we add in to make this look interesting? We got restrooms in the info booth. So, hey, why is that I was going to say, why is that still saying that there's okay, there's already benches around that, but what we could do, put down a couple of signposts here, add a nice little couple of chess tables, is just park tiling, and then we could add some nice little flower planters into the area. And not quite even. Let's go there. And let's go there. And one more. They have various food stalls and sandboxes. And we also have a bunch of props that we could put down, including, I believe, yep, quite a lot of where some of my modded content gone. So let's put a couple of food trucks around here as well. So what do we have there? A barbecue place and Mexican street food. Skate park accessories, parking decals. Yep, okay, that looks like just about it. And park maintenance would need to be roadside, so it might be worth actually putting it like right there, just so we have that close by. So public transport hubs, a taxi, oh no, post office, sorry, not taxi, post office. So I had the walking tours, it should be, yep, that is still there, all present. So unfortunately it's only been the residents who have really been interested in that. There are our taxis, and we have a massive 10 tourists per week using our bus system. There's cable cars, a monorail, airports, which we don't quite have unlocked yet, but we do have blimps. Ferries, as you've seen, we have one of those wandering around. And we can also do a metro system, which I think if we do, we'll probably want one entrance right by the university, one over here in Old Town, one over here probably by Industry East, one in Industry West, one in the North City, and then another one for our oil and ore industries. So we have 29,000. It's 218 out of 500 students. So we probably want a second little study hall that we can do. Okay, that is going to be annoyingly fussy about it. We will have to, nope, not metro system. Probably put that back around there. And then we could move this to being more, no, okay, we can't do that. Let's cancel out of that, but it does mean we now have a second study hall, and I will actually, I was going to say we were going to put down a third one, but no, this still needs to be moved across a little bit. Is that going to be enough? And the answer is yes. So if we actually put these tiny bit in between each other, so that now gives us 1,200 student capacity versus 600 in the dorms. So if we add one more dormitory with a bit of space, so that's 900 students available. So residential building for students for the duration of their academic studies. So we now are over our campus attractiveness requirement for the next level. And we are halfway to getting the number of students up as well. Okay, so we actually have 2,150 capacity for students. And see. So if we go up to 25 academic staff, which would cost us 20,000 a week, we would have a 75% chance of creating something of note, but we will keep that at 30% now, even though we apparently have massively increased our weekly income. So where on earth has that all come from? That cannot have just come from the campus area. Residential 35,000. I have no idea why that's just jumped up so much. Okay, it's gone down a little bit now, but I'm not going to complain. But however, speaking of residential, we do have a little bit of demand for that. So, seeing as we have a university campus over here, we could argue that these sections are going to become a bit more desirable. We can do that and then make some of these commercial zones into high density to obviously reflect that as there's more people around, there is also going to be obviously more facilities needed, and I will just go around and remove some of these abandoned buildings that we have, because people are obviously complaining about this, and you are complaining that, yeah, not enough workers, full stop. The city over here seems to be doing fine, as does the one over here. So we will just see the development of some more high-rise and multi-household buildings here. So that will probably just trickle along in the background. And while we are doing that, let's focus on our second ore site. If we expand that out, and we do that down there. And then that's not quite a perfect square, but I will take that. Take our little roads here, bring back our smaller roads, and make sure that we can see where the ore resources are. So we can put that down there, and then we can do a straight line just all the way up there and bisecting that, so we can have obviously these sections being our drillers and resource extraction, and then we can have this bit down here and around here as more of our processing facilities. So let's go to our ore area and what facilities can we have, and also it might be an idea to actually expand this so it covers all of the road and areas that we have. So it probably doesn't quite, no, actually yes it does, because there is some ore down there that we will probably want to extract. So we have our small underground ore, our large ore mine, small rather, sorry, I was reading the one that is not yet unlocked. So medium we will have when we get to 3 stars, and how far off that are we? So yeah, still need a few more workers. So I think for now actually we will come back here and see if we can put... don't be fussy. 1 and 2 there, and a small one underground is not, unfortunately, not small enough. So we have ore grinding mills there, we have workers' barracks, and another one over there, and that is a glass manufacturing plant. So you are complaining that you just basically don't have enough ore. That is a storage facility. So if we honestly put down, yes, I think we're going to need a second one of these. I was going to say that doesn't look like the same, but it does. It just obviously doesn't have the facilities on it, and because that has cut off our electricity pylons, we can put one there and hope that that will extend through. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it, so we'll need to go down here and do that instead, and remove this one here. Yeah, you are both complaining that there is not enough resources for you. And yes, the mass of industrial traffic. How is our traffic flow doing? We are still at 81%, even with all that considered. So let's have a look at this intersection and see what is going on. So there is no of way considered for all of the industrial areas, so we will put that through and make it a priority for those coming up and down here. Hello Line Shark, how are you doing today? Minecraft City Skylines edition, indeed it is. Working with ores and not producing them. Oh, what's the word? But yes. Digging down, mining deep, and processing everything into usable stuff. So has that worked much on our facilities for that area? It does look like it, but again, because this, I put this as stop signs, that is starting to jam up there, so instead I will change it around. Line Shark, doing well, getting my second and final vaccine a little later. Oh, congratulations on that. I actually got an emergency text from my local GP yesterday saying, we have an excess of the Pfizer vaccine, please contact us if you are available to come to the clinic to be vaccinated next week. So I've jumped on that, so I'm scheduled in for my first vaccine next week now. I'm just hoping I don't have too many side effects from it. Okay, so this looks like it's starting to flow a bit better now. We have mostly cleared up this section here, so that's good. So, oh, that has now jammed up this area from the looks of it. Oh, that is starting to go back a little bit. Oh, sorry, Lion Shark. A GP, general practitioner, is I'm not quite sure what the American equivalent would be, but it's the doctor that you go to for just your general generic stuff, so like yearly checkups if you have that kind of thing, and the person that you go to if you need to just have some of your symptoms looked at. Okay, yeah, you don't abbreviate. Well, okay. I thought you did, but never mind. So yeah, general practitioner. So I'm going to have a look and see where all of this traffic is necessarily trying to go to. Oh, yes, because I still have traffic manager on. So, oh my goodness. Okay, that is apparently an absolute ton of private vehicles coming down and across this way. Okay. Right. Change of plans. We are going to be putting in a metro system because we have a ton of like private vehicles that are wanting to basically try and get everywhere. So anyway, Lion Shark, like, maybe we do abbreviate. I'm just a tad young for this one at the moment. Nah, maybe. So let's just check our zoning. So if we put this one down over here, that should be just out of range of the residential areas, so they're not going to complain too much about that. And then if we put one down here by the park, then I said it was going to be effectively Industry North, so we want a good place for that one, which is probably going to be there, and what I'm calling Industry South, and again we probably want there. City North. Let's just check our zonings. Okay, where I was going to put it looks absolutely fine. And I will also put one down. Where is our nearest good bus stop for this? That is also around Commercial. That would be there. Okay, so this is going to take a lot of money to get done, but we should be able to at least hook up some of the places. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, Lion Shark. I'm trying to think on what I might have to do in terms of my... Well, the Stellaris game that I've got going is a little bit iffy at the moment because we are in a three-way war and it unfortunately looks like there is very little chance that I am going to be able to come out of it unscathed. So I've actually put up a poll on my about page or about tab of my Twitch profile asking people what I should try and do afterwards if it does turn out to be game over for Stellaris. So I've got an option for just basically try again, try becoming the Crisis, set the time scale on that new game to be a bit longer so we're not completely rushed out. Alternatively, I have an option for Stardew Valley with the Stardew Valley expanded mod plus a bunch of all others, which I did a preliminary stream for on Tuesday. And then finally we have an option going way back and being very retro of doing The Sims 2 with a bunch of custom content and mods that I've accumulated over like 15 years of playing the game, and also including a bunch of game rules which we would need to abide by as well. So if you have any interest, thoughts and opinions on that, you can go through and vote on that. I will probably be keeping it open until definitely at least after the Stellaris stream tomorrow, when we can actually see how we are going to be doing. But yes, other than that, I'm doing well. Had a little look down at the vegetable plants that I've got growing in the courtyard, and my goodness, the potatoes we have just completely shot up, so we're going to be needing to earth those up over the weekend. Thank you very much for the vote. I will obviously check in on that when I've got a few more and see what people's opinions are for it. Okay, that is saying we can't build on water, so we are probably going to have to actually move the station that we had here, which is going to be slightly unfortunate. So it must be placed roadside. Saying slope too steep, but okay, if we move it across here, we actually have that right next to a bus stop, which might work out a bit better. So it does mean removing some of the stuff that I just put down. Thankfully, it's been soon enough that we can get a refund. Oh, we can connect that up and just wait. Do we have a capacity? Okay, we can take the 200,000 credit loans. I think we will need to do that to get the metro system up and running. So we want that to come down here a bit and then curve up around and a bit more, and then we will need to have a bit of a steep curve going around for that section. Yay, more debt. It's only 400 and something a month, 400 and something a week, and we are making 15,000 a week. So it shouldn't be too bad. It's just it is there for an absolutely huge length of time, and unfortunately even that is not enough to help us finish putting the line down to here. Oof. Oh, there we go. Our ore extraction site has reached level 3, so we can now have a rotary kiln plant, an electronics factory, a seabed mining vessel, which might be useful because I think we have some ore in the river, and a medium ore mine. So we don't have any money to do any of that, but we will still go and have a look at it regardless. So the medium one is, oh yeah, that would potentially just about fit into there, but because of the situation that we've done here, we can probably fit at least 3 there and a bunch more there, and hopefully maybe some there. And then what else? So the seabed mining, does that actually need to be... Oh, okay, that is going to be... I was going to say that's going to be fussy, but if I was able to move a few things around, it might be okay, but... no. Okay, we're probably not going to be doing that. But the rotary kiln plant, so requires ore and turns that into metals. And then the electronics is probably one of these. That's an industrial steel plant. So that needs metals. That is our toy factory. There's our electronics factory. Okay, so that requires plastic, glass and metals. So everything that you do have in the ore industry area, but obviously quite a lot of different things. So, okay, we will leave that for the time being and refocus on our attempts at building something of a decent metro hub system, so we can try and curve that around to that area. So again, we will be waiting for money. Okay, a bit more there. Is too steep, and it is... oh, that looks like it's unfortunately intersecting with the ferry line that we have there. Let's have a look. So, transport. Yeah, so that's probably complaining about that. So we might actually bring it above ground just so we can get it past the ferry system. So, or I was born and bred in London, and the one interesting thing that I always, found interesting was that the metro system is actually, more of it is above ground than is below ground. Just as an interesting little fact. So let's go back down underground, and space already occupied, so it might be an idea to grab this metro station and move it around a bit more so it's a tiny bit more easier. So yeah, move it to there. We're going to have some residential people who are not going to be happy about that, but you know, what can you do? Okay, that is going to complain because the space is already occupied. If we try coming down here, and then oh yep, okay, it will fit up there. It will be a bit of a roller coaster for some people. There we go. Let's come above ground. We can remove that, and I think yes, we will do the move it method and make sure that that has at least a tiny bit more logical progression on it. Shall we just say okay, that looks probably about as nice as it's going to get. Yeah. Line Shark, I find it so weird the game calls it the Metro because we're so used to calling it the Subway, not to be confused with the Subway sandwich shop. Yeah. Yeah, I get that as well. It's like, or we call it, or at least the London system, we just call it the London Underground. So calling it the Metro is quite weird for us as well because like, the Metro for us is a free newspaper that you get in London. That is what the Metro is to us. And that curve is probably a bit too steep. MTA. Oh yes, you're in New York, aren't you? Yeah. I had the fun of experiencing the MTA when I visited New York a good number of years ago. But one thing I did absolutely love though was how Grand Central Station, oops, apparently that has connected to the road, I did not want that to happen, is the way Grand Central Station is all set up. Okay, Connecticut. But yeah, still on topic, I liked how Grand Central Station was set up, and especially the fact that sensibly it told you the times that the trains were going to turn up and actually gave you like 4 minutes of leeway, whereas with London it's just, yeah, the train's here at this time, you better get there, otherwise you are not going to get on that train. Okay, we have enough of a metro system that I could probably start putting in, at least in the initial part of the line, and then we just basically have this little area to connect up. And I think actually we are probably going to have to do another little bit of above ground building because this is going to complain that once again we cannot build this on water. Let's go across to there and then across to about here, and then we will start coming up. There's this space already occupied. Okay. Invalid shape. Fine, so we will just do it as a straight line for there. And then come across here and find the one section where it allows us to come through and go around the ferries. I never thought when I put those ferries in that it was going to be such an annoyance compared to getting the metro connected up. And there we go, that looks like we have our first metro line down. And the way this is done, it has allowed me to potentially, like, we can add in another stop up here and another stop down closer to the oil industry or even the ore extraction site. So let's do and make sure that we have a line going the other way. And I'm not quite sure if I want to do free public transport in some areas or if I just want to leave it as it is and see how things go. So we could have a look at the lines overview. So if I turn that off, then we just have this one, which is the city-wide anti-clockwise and the city-wide clockwise. And as a tribute to the London Underground, we are probably going to make this red, even though I believe the first London Underground line was technically brown, but let's just go with that. So we can see nicely all of our different transport systems. So we have the trains in orange, our ferry in yellow, some of our bus routes we have pink, blue, green and yellow, and then our ferry system also in yellow, but you know, that's on the water, so we can easily tell that apart from everything else. Okay, and we already have 7 people using the metro. Oh my goodness, okay, which stop is that? Okay, the City North has... wow. Quite a lot of people are waiting for that, and it may be worth actually putting a bus system in there, so that kind of goes, like, picks up one of these stops, goes up here, goes around the area, then comes down probably to about here where the green and orange lines intersect, so that there's a bit of, you know, travel between all of those. But let's see, let's turn down speed and see if anything has changed on our road system. My teacher was just talking about prepaid phone plans like they're old. I'm like, I still do prepaid. Oh, yeah, geez. Prepaid phone plans take me back a while. I'm on like a 30-month rolling contract for my phone system now. But yeah, I do remember. It's like £5 and that gives you like 100 texts or something silly like that, and you had to make sure that you texted in exactly what you had and what you needed to say, and you also had to make sure you stayed within a certain limit, otherwise you'd be charged for a second text when you only wanted to send one. Jeez, those were the days. Okay, so our ore industry went up to level 3. We have 150,000, so we can't quite pay off that line, but we can pay off the middle one that we had. And we can add in a couple new facilities for our ore industry. So let's grab, where was it? The medium ore mine, and let's put them, yeah, let's put 1, 2 and 3 of them there, so those should start working. There we go. There's some people already working in that, and look at those going. Yeah, we can even see the people all down here. Oh my goodness, they are tiny compared to it. Look at that. So let's just... okay, that's a bit disappointing. It's just labelled as ore industry worker. Like, when they transitioned to Android smartphones, they split up the minutes into talk, text and data. Or for us in the UK, like even, whoops, water, electricity, those things were important. Like even back then we had, like, and I am honestly going back 20 years, even then we still had the system where you would get a certain amount of text, a certain amount of minutes, and if you were lucky enough and you had a phone that could actually connect to the internet with 2G, yes, we are going way back, you, like, that was all set up for usage. So you are going to be fussy again. I'm probably going to have to raise you up. Nope, that's not going to happen. So we're very much used to the whole system where you have, like, things like that were already split up, so it didn't matter too much for us. There we go, that's connected. But yeah, nowadays you will be very hard pressed to find a data plan that doesn't allow you unlimited texts at the very least. I mean, I'm paying £6 a month for mine, and I'm getting like a tiny bit of data, which I don't really care about because, you know, world events, staying at home, I don't really need data access, and then unlimited texts. And I think either I have unlimited minutes or I have so many that I just don't notice it. And even then, who calls people nowadays? I'm a millennial. I just text everyone. Oh, whoops. Okay, we have a fire over here. I'm pretty sure we should have... No, we don't have a fire station over here. Well, we can rectify that. And we have a nice space there. That doesn't require us to remove any buildings or anything. And let's just have a quick sweep around. So we probably want to have something around here just in case. We can cover that area up. Similarly, police. We want a nice little police station here. And so we do have a campus security option potentially up here, so I don't know if we want to put a police station down, because I'm not 100% sure if it would actually extend out of... Nah, regardless, I'm going to put one down. And then health care. So I did remember to put healthcare and a crematorium up here. So, and we have one... So we have our 3 cemeteries. So cemetery usage is getting a bit iffy. So I think if we actually put down a crematorium in there, and despite the fact that it's right next door to them, they're still happy about it. Okay, so 30,000 left. We have 575 available job spots, and we have 375 actual people working. So if we put down one of those, I think I saw the kiln. Yep, rotary kiln plant. How big is that? So we can put this... Yes, you're going to be fussy again, aren't you? Oh, we can fit it there, and we can fit another one in there when we get 30,000 again. So you are obviously going to complain that you don't have enough raw materials because you've just been placed down. Our oil facilities have actually dropped down in terms of jobs. That's... Oop. There we go. There's our metro going above ground briefly. That is cute. That is really cute. So anyway, these facilities are like 70% full. Yeah, so it does look like it is this road that seems to be carrying quite a lot of traffic for some reason. Again, yep, loads and loads of private vehicles. So, yes, I may indeed have to put down some districts and start working that around, seeing as we don't actually have one here. So... paint our district down, and we will basically try and incentivize these people to use more so free public transport, so increased use of public transportation and no ticket income, so we will put that there. And what else can we do that is relevant to that? So we could put down a prefer ferries, but I think that would only impact the area that is put down for. And taxation, do we have any things there? Nope. And we also could encourage biking, because that will make citizens prefer bicycles over motor vehicles. And to say, what does that mean but industry, and overlook a few security measures. Line Sharks asks, how worthwhile is the no electricity for heat policy? I'm running it across my entire city. I think that is one that relates to the winter map. So if you're not on a winter map, it's like not needed at all, because it's just, you know, they're not using electricity for heat anyway. I'll see if I can actually find that. So no electricity for heat. They can only use heat produced by heating services, or you can have only electricity for heat. They raise electricity consumption significantly during cold spells, and obviously you'd probably want to put that on with extra insulation. Okay, you are on a winter map, so I would say it's like, well, I'm just going to like estimate here. Obviously you turn off electricity for heat, so it means you have electricity for other more proper situations. So in a system where you are able to, so we have the heating system, so we have a boiler station which uses oil to produce heat, and also a geothermal heating plant. So I think it kind of depends, really. You have water pipe with heating pipes, and I think it just depends on whether you want to have your electricity services be used by both, or if you want to split it up and try and use an environmentally friendly heating system like the geothermal one, because obviously, as we've just seen, it doesn't require any either outside resources or drilling for oil in your town if you have the Industrials DLC. So if you have using the geothermal heating plant, so not as effective as fossil fuels but very safe for the environment, versus, let's see how much that was, 55,000. So what does the equivalent electricity get you? That would be an oil power plant, geothermal power plant for 80 megawatts. Yeah, I'd say if you're on a cold map, I would put the, yeah, no electricity for heat and use a geothermal system to make sure your citizens get enough hot water through their pipes and ensure that they are able to keep their houses warm enough. So yeah, I'd say that's worthwhile. I'm not doing too well with trying to hook up all these systems, am I? Thankfully I did put water pipes down everywhere. So how are we doing with jobs on this? Still not quite enough, but hopefully, because we still have quite a lot of residential demand, so I'm wondering how many people would actually like to live by this area, or maybe I should come over here and, oh yes, we did leave some space for some new residential zoning, didn't we? I'll fill that in for now. See what people think, and we can probably bring down another little city street for this, and that gives us a bit more. Sorry, changing my mind, that's a bit too close to the main road for my liking. So we'll just quickly change that back up and we will have it as a more standard straight road. And then quickly pause again while we put the residential in and make sure that it is covered by water piping. Okay, so let's see how much that reduces the demand, and hopefully that also gives people a bit more incentive to work with the industrial sectors. And also, while I am just thinking about it, we will make some small road connections between our residential sectors and this big, I'm not quite sure what you'd call it, but like the main industry roads, really. So how is this doing? Still flowing okay. So we are back at 82%, and just as I'm saying that, there's a bit of a traffic jam. What do we have here? Fancy Boutique, which is actually a level 3. That's nice. And then... I may need to start putting down some parking spots and everything, because obviously some of the residential areas and obviously some of the businesses as well have small parts parking, but that's obviously not enough. Like here, there's 4 cars. There's Lynch, Belmore, Orchid. So not even any of the people that actually live in this house. So Cedar. Well, there's one of them. Thornton's. Gosh. Yeah, okay. I don't know where all of those people that own those cars live, but okay, so where are my car parks? There's football, the large concrete one, and obviously we want to try and put it around some industrial zoning. Actually, right here might be good. We have a tiny bit of residential. It's going to cut into some of the commercial, but I will put that down. There's some functional parking and some additional stuff that I downloaded. We can have a look at that. That gives us a couple of parking areas. Though they are very, very cheap on their accessibility parking, so there is only 4 accessibility spots there, but never mind. And obviously if we are doing that, we probably want to make sure that... Oh, I don't want to ban vehicles, because I picked the wrong one. I just want to ban parking across some of these areas, so people will have to find different areas to actually park. The question is also going to be, how far away are they willing to walk to use such parking facilities? And unfortunately it looks like for some of them we are just shoving them onto different areas. But, okay, and turn you all off. So saying that, they are actually using the parking facilities for the actual commercial buildings, which, okay, I will take that as a success. I will take that. I may not have actually needed to put down 2 parking lots there. So we actually go ahead, get rid of 1, and then we can rezone this with the IT. And I think there was also a bit of high density commercial, so we can just keep an eye on how that is going as well. So our hospital, no patients, so I would imagine that that is actually a pretty good thing. That means no one's really sick. Oof. And yeah, you can see just how much traffic is using all of this, because it takes a while even for my system to load in. So actually let's go to the front and see where are some of these people going in their vehicles. Are they honestly going to like some really distant places, or are they just doing short little trips? But just because there's so many of them, is that having an impact on the flow of the traffic in the city? So it is flowing. Like, we are not stopped at any one point for a while. It's just, okay, you are not part of the problem. At least I don't think. If we try going around the other way and see a commercial, not commercial vehicle, a personal vehicle. Ooh, electric car. Okay, so you are grounds worker at the box factory, which, given you are coming here, is probably one of these facilities around. So anyway, let's go back to you. You were just in front of the police car. So let's see where you are going. Obviously, going home resides at the Sycamore residence. So either I saw that when we were poking around earlier and trying to see where all of the cars, like whose houses they belonged to. And actually looking at this, I can immediately see one thing that we can do, which is to get our traffic manager out, change the no, it's not that. Oh, apparently we didn't actually have vehicle despawning turned off. So, okay, currently no despawning. Okay, so this will actually now give us a proper indication of what is happening in our city. So, one thing that does seem to be slowing this area down is the pedestrians. So, as before, we will remove that, but what we will do instead is create a small area where we can ensure that they have access across the road, so they don't have to wait for the cars to stop, and we can also naturally, there we go, so that is a pedestrian walkway, so we can do a section down from probably about here. Yep, so that connects up, and then another similar section down to there. Turn off snapping again because I want this to be a little bit curved. Go down to there and then down to there. And I think, oh no, actually we probably want one down here as well, so snapping back on. And or not. Seeing as you are being a bit fussy again. And then down to there. So let's unpause that, and we should have now a, yep, so we have the pedestrians now. Effectively there are no pedestrians that should be in this little corner here. So can we find that car again? I don't think so, because I think we probably would have spent a bit. Oh no, there it is. We've got it back. Okay. So let's see how that changes up the traffic flow on this section. What are the rules for this? So this road is a giveaway, and these two across here are priority roads. Okay. And apparently this has not had electricity for like forever. Either that or I just disconnected it while building the pedestrian walkways, but never mind, we can just connect it back down to there and that should be okay. And back down to following this car. So yes, like having right of way, everyone is still kind of jostling around for position, trying to change lanes. So this might be interesting. I don't actually know if some of the people like Biffa who have a look at cities and figure out what's wrong with like traffic and everything, because I've got so many mods involved in this thing, I think it might be a little bit unusable in terms of having a look and seeing if it can be fixed at all. But let's see where we are going. So again, it is pretty much everyone coming the opposite direction and trying to turn left, and then everyone in this direction that we are doing turning right. So it might be worthwhile, no, not even might, it will be worthwhile upgrading this to a 4-lane road. The only difficulty is I can't remember if we had any like really big like specific buildings, like the ploppables, not the grubbles. So this is a small 4-lane road. It supports medium traffic, so we want something to go up. So we want something that supports heavy traffic more than anything. And let's have a look to see if we have anything nice like that. It's a 2-lane avenue. So again, some of these are modded and they are not actually saying how much traffic they can manage, but I will presume from the fact that, okay, there we go, a 6-lane road. So this is going to cause quite a disturbance in our city, but it looks like we are going to need to do so. So that is going to, looks like it's going to become our main thoroughfare road. So if we come through here, and then where are you connecting, and up to there. So that gives us a nice big road to come through, and we will also upgrade this to have a bit more carry capacity as well. And yeah, let's do this one. And I think we will just wait and see, rezone some of these areas that got removed, though the residential probably aren't going to be too happy being right next to such a busy road. If that's the case, we will naturally come back and readjust that. Otherwise, commercial, I don't want it on the road up there. And then this, those sections back up to high density commercial, and that looks good. And we have a bit of a panic as everyone is now realizing that there are additional lanes that they can now use, and because I have also just turned traffic despawning off, like we can't go into a system where it just deletes all of the cars and then restarts all of their journeys. But let's see. Okay, so that seems to be clearing up a bit, as does that. This is jammed all the way back to there. So I may have to take a bit of time when we get more money through to go through and analyse some of these roads. Like this one here, that's got barely any traffic, that just seems to have, so buses, pink, yep, pedestrians, cyclists, but basically no trucks and no commercial vehicles. So we could change this one down if we go into our transport system, because I remember that this actually now does have, so we could change this down to like a 4 lanes or 2 lane with bus road rather than 4 lanes with bus road. So that might save us a small amount of money. So I think, so that is too large for our purposes. Let's see if there are any better ones like that with no parking. A painted median, a 5-lane road. Yeah, let's go for this one and change this up a bit. That is obviously going to have a slightly different colour of bus lane because it's a one that's actually in the game rather than a modded option. And let's have a look at our intersection options here. So might it be worthwhile, seeing as we have basically everyone turning right this way and then turning left that way, might it be worth changing these to stop signs and then just letting you flow across? And also, yes, lane management. So we basically want you have exclusive use of that lane. You go across to that way and you go across to that way. You similarly... Actually just a one-way street. Did I mean to do that? Oh well, so you have exclusive use of that road. You obviously come across to there and you come across to there. And then you have that one straight ahead and there. And do I need to connect anything else up? It doesn't look like it. Okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue because I don't seem to be able to just tell people if you're coming straight you need to stop rather than actually no, if I change you to priority and you to yield, then you are changed. Why are you parking there? No, you should not be allowed to park here. This is a main road. No parking. Please. If I was in the UK, I'd make it, or if I knew I was streaming to just a UK audience, I'd make a comment about this being a red route pathway, but that would just fly over the heads of my international viewers. Okay, so no parking, no parking, no parking. And that's probably actually changed because it went from the ones with bus lanes and no parking to a more standard road. That obviously does allow for parking in some instances, and we need to do some node controls wherever those are. It's manual traffic lights, timed traffic lights. No, it's not junction restrictions either. Or vehicle restrictions. Where is it? I know there is like a node controller. Ah, lane connector, that's where it was. Lane connector. Okay, so we pretty much want every one of these to stay in their lane. We don't want people to be chopping and changing right up to the intersection because that is creating at least some of this chaos. And again, okay, if we go here, so you are pretty much a just turn right system, you are a turn left. Go right, go straight, go there, go. Okay, actually if I tell you, so no, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so 2 lanes like that, so that one goes there, and then your other option is to go up here, as is that one. So your option is to go down there. Your option is to go straight, and your option is to also go straight, and then you go down there, you go straight, you go straight. Whoops, didn't want to click on that. And our junctions, so priority, and we'll put a stop sign right there, and go back do some node controls over here. So yes, not quite what I had intended, but this is kind of necessary. So we have people changing up here, that's good, so they should stay there. And then similarly here, we want to back that up so we don't have people chopping and changing right near the intersections. So I'd done that one. Okay, so basically if you want to get here and then turn down into this street, then you need to go all the way back here, and you basically need to decide at this node that you are going to be doing that. But oh well, we have like those two cars just did. But anyway, so we have some slightly better flow from the looks of it. And okay, I think I may, no, actually nope, not traffic lights. Roundabout. We are going to be putting a roundabout in here. This is probably the first one that I am going to do outside of those in or general standard ones. So we will be turning off our zoning once again, going back up to here, and this is obviously going to demolish a few buildings once again, but we will manage that. Okay, I did put the road further back than I had thought, so we can put that along, and then road traffic is going to come this way. So okay, you are not actually liking that, so if I just change this to the skinniest little road that I have, and then we can come back here and add that. So that goes to there, that, oops, wrong thing, that goes to there, that goes across to there, and that goes across to there. Delete the middle road sections and reconnect our main areas. So it comes through onto there, that will be a bit of a pain. So again, if we go back to the main junction, and we should just be able to pull through, yep. Then up to here, we can connect that one with no issue, and this little road here, and there we have it. So I will let that run for a brief moment and let everyone recalculate and reconfigure where they are going to be going. But I was going to say, but that should be fine, but no. So we want everyone who is coming on to the motorway to naturally yield to those who are on it, and those who are on it are going to have a guaranteed right of way system. So, and thinking about it, probably another roundabout if we pull this back. So if we pull this back to maybe about here, we can then have one offshoot coming onto the road there, and then potentially one coming to here, but I don't know if that's going to cause problems, because then that will be a 6-way intersection, which might be a bit tricky to manage. But we will actually zoom out and just take a look at how those are doing. So what traffic rules do we have here? None. Okay, so you on the tiny little roads give way, and you on the main road have priority access. So how are we doing? We look okay. We're looking okay for money as well. And that has disconnected because the building that was there no longer is, because it's also not been rezoned. And we have a strange little commercial area there which doesn't need to be there. And yeah, remove those little sectors of commercial, and we can bring that back in. Yes, this may so 76% traffic flow, but I am hoping that is more just teething problems than anything too major. So this looks like it's cleared up a bit with all of the new high-lane capacity at node controller. You are changing lanes, you are not supposed to, and I see some people parking that are not supposed to. No parking. Nope. Nope. Not on the roundabouts. No. Nope. 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 And nope. Okay, I will move these to no parking as well, just to even things out. So that should start sectioning the traffic out once again. And there is an ambulance there, trying apparently to take a shortcut from the looks of it. Okay, there we go. That looks like it's flowing better. That looks like it's flowing better. Up to 78% now. And I think we need to do a bit of node control here as well. Yes. And where is the next node? Okay, the next node is right back up against that intersection. I'm not going to actually fiddle with the nodes on the roundabout. The last time I did it, people had to like go round the roundabout 2 times if they wanted to turn off into like a more major route. Yep, there we go. Okay, people are deciding. Ooh! Okay, there we go. Okay, actually, no, I was going to say nothing of interest. Nope. So we're still at the same reputation level, but we do have one academic work. We actually managed to produce one over the year, so we might be able to put in a bit of extra money and get a second one. So, connecting the dots, a visual guide for people to flawlessly plan their public transport routes. And 2 toga parties. This year's toga party had almost broken the world record of the largest toga party with the highest number of participants in the history of the campus. Over 9,000 white bed sheets were appropriated by students for this year's toga parties. And, yep, okay, we are looking, actually starting to look pretty clear on that road now. And I think that just shows people the potential power of roundabouts in city skylines. So I wonder, we could also try and resolve this difficulty here with a roundabout as well. So once again, we will put our main road across, just to make sure that we have some kind of system for that. The difficulty might be where we have the garbage collection. Oh, no. Okay, we can put that in a bit of a, more of a diamond than a circle, but we will once again move it around, make things a little bit nicer, make it a larger roundabout so there's a bit more capacity for people to interact with it as well. Bump that back out, bring that back in. Put this road back. Hopefully that still allows that to be connected in. Okay, that has to be at a bit of a weird angle, as does that. And then this back down to there. Okay, so move that like that. Okay, so we've got people moving, traffic flowing a bit better. And we will put in probably another little roundabout here as well, because this is once again a fairly packed little area. Get the same road type that we chose for that. Okay, we can't do that because we have a ploppable building there, which we will just need to... Okay, that was not what I wanted to do. I didn't mean to pick it up with move it. I meant to do that and it be more of a traditional move. Whoops. Whoops. Anyway, so that goes into there. Again, it's a bit awkward, but we will adjust that momentarily. Again, bring it down, bring that out a bit, and bring that to there, and reconnect all the roads. Okay, and we probably need to delete a couple of the buildings there because they are right on the roundabout when they should not be. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna move this back in a little bit. And just also do our connections so that people coming onto the roundabout have to wait. And a little bit of node control just to check where everyone is going to be. Okay, I don't need to do that one, and that is only a one-way street. So we need to do a bit here and just make sure that people aren't changing routes to suddenly. So we can put that there. And then where were our other nodes? So we want to make sure that you are prepped and properly in the right place. Similarly with here, we want to make sure that you are aware that you should be in the right lanes long before you approach the roundabout. And actually, let's see if we can move this back a bit and make that again look nicer and be more where it used to be. So I can see some lane changes in here, so obviously as this is going to another roundabout, we want to make sure that people are trying to align themselves in the correct areas. So we want to make sure that you are pretty much either doing that or doing that, and you want to obviously be going there or there. Okay, and I'm just checking on that truck. Okay, yes. So we do want to make sure that this can also come down to here, because otherwise, like we will, like before, things might be a bit iffy. Sippy, don't, what? I'm not sure what you're referencing on this. What will clog the traffic up? Is that the thing that I just did that screwed everything up, or the thing that I just did that managed to just about rectify things? That was the wrong thing I wanted to check. Okay, we don't have the proper right-of-way systems. Yep, I've just changed it all to giving way and just trying to clear things up a bit. Oh, okay, there's a bit of an issue here. Let's just see if that's... Yeah, that should all be going okay. Pedestrian walkways, yes, yes, that is a very good point, because we obviously have all of these pedestrian paths across where people are going to be trying to come across, and that is, yep, you're right, that is going to have some of our pedestrians coming through and blocking up our traffic, which we don't necessarily want to do. Thank you for reminding me on that. Thank you. Okay, so we will naturally remove all of our crossings here, but we will be putting in pedestrian walkways, and if we come back up here we will just quickly do the same and then do ourselves some little pedestrian overpasses so that everyone can come across to that area nicely. Okay, and we'll do that. I think we might actually try and follow the roundabout at least a tiny little bit after we turn the snapping off, so we can do things a bit more granular. Okay, so, and up to there. That looks good. Snap it back on so we can do the crosses across to here. Adjust it tiny bit with move it. Then back around with the curving tool. Fewer lanes. Yes, I've been trying to debate on that because obviously there's a consideration onto whether, like, obviously having more lanes and higher capacity traffic is a better option than trying to, like, make sure there's just more capacity on everything to begin with. Okay, and actually if we have that going across, I might... Yep, we can connect that then. Most clogging happens because of lane changes. Yeah, you can see that I did go back with a few of the nodes and try and adjust that to resolve those. That is unfortunately going to have a bit of an issue in terms of blocking the not pipelines, electrical cables that we put down. Yeah, I have got a metro system down at the moment, and we do have at least one area of the city that is labelled as free public transport, so they should be using the buses and the metro as much as they possibly can. Yep, sure. Let's just go into that system, not the trams, sorry. So we've got our metro system here. So we have a stop here by the college, we have a stop here roughly by the park and the tourism district, and we've got one stop on the industrial this side of the river, one stop that side, one stop here and one stop here. Any things that you'd recommend on this then, Sippy, as a change to that? Okay, well, I was anticipating finishing the stream up in about 10 minutes, so if you want to, like, send me a whisper or something and we can discuss things away from the stream, and we can potentially get that set up for my next streaming episode, if that's okay. Okay, yeah, thank you. I will take a look at that and try and implement some of the advice next time. Oh, and yeah, thank you for the follow on that. I will check out those options and see what advice on that I can implement into my city without, well, I was going to say without having too much of a rebuild, but I think we are at the point where we are going to have to do so. Yes, I have a Discord if I actually just bring it up. I have one set up, but I'm not 100% sure it's actually fully implemented, but try that link and see if that works. It is pretty much just me on there at the moment as I have been setting things up. But yeah, feel free to have a look there and send me some... Okay, you'll send a link there. That's good. Thank you. So, pedestrian crossing areas and obviously some paths back down. So, okay, that is too steep on that. So we may have to try and come down a little bit. Like that, and can we? No, okay, that's going to be a bit tricky, so we'll have to pull back and probably come up at it from closer to this kind of angle and add, there we go, and then we can swing one around this way. Okay, yep, okay, got it. Biffa. I'll have a look at that and get some things down, thank you. Okay. So we should be able to just about place all of these down, and we will be in a moderately decent position to finish up our streams. Okay, so bring that back down there, and then no, you're not going to like that. Okay, the metro to make straight lines, and okay, well, I was going to say I'll take a screenshot, but I have this video going onto my computer anyway, so I can pause it and have a look at what I potentially need to do to get a few more efficient metro systems in. So make straight lines, and at 2-3 stations make junctions. So more of a, like, do a straight line across, like, from there to there, and then put a route in, like in the real life metros. Yeah, okay, I'll have a look at the London Underground as well and see if I can base a few things off of that. Okay, so anyway, back to the pathings. And we will bring one across from here. And okay, there we go, there is another one, a bit wonky, but yes, we will manage with that at some way. Looping is just time consuming for people, yeah, okay, I will admit that. And we shouldn't have too many people coming across on the roads over here, but I will put some connectors around regardless. We have one there. Actually, you know what? Why don't I just make a walkway inside of the roundabout? If someone wants to go mid-city, they can switch to multiple metros. Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, I know. I'm going to have to start actually reconfiguring all of my cities and moving things around. I think I'm not sure if I'm going to want to try and do that off stream, or if people are going to want to see me manage it and rectify it in real time. But I will see. I will definitely have a look at the recommendations for the Biffa to watch, to have a look at the cities. Okay, and we will connect that one up there. Oh, well, admittedly, the landfill was there long before the roundabout was. It's no longer in use, so there is hopefully a little bit of a I can't think of the right word. Yeah, it's completely full. There's no one using it anymore. Unless I decide that it needs to be cleared out. Okay, we can't get one there because that is a hospital, but hopefully that should alleviate some of the pedestrian crossings that we have. Apparently we've got a couple of helicopters flying around. Are those the fire helicopter depot? So it looks like there might have been some kind of fire around there. But as we have it right now, I will just have a look, pay off that loan, and we will be starting next episode with almost a population of 22,000 people, a metro system set up, the start of a college, and we will have a look and see, on Sippy's advice, if we can start restructuring our metro system and doing a bit more of our traffic management. And yeah, I agree with you there, Sippy. Vanilla can be fairly limiting when you get to obviously needing to manage all the traffic and the systems that are there. And checking, yep, that looks okay. So for the stream today, I think we will end it there. Thank you very much to everyone who's been watching. Thank you, Sippy, for coming in and giving some of your advice and feedback on how this is doing. Tomorrow's stream is Stellaris Nemesis, which may be game over for us, and in the possibility that it is, I have set up a poll on my page where you can vote for what is going to be coming next if you have interest in that. Otherwise, I will say goodbye for now, and I will hopefully see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.